Well, good evening. My name is Lo Finney, and I see so many familiar faces in the crowd tonight. Tonight I'm a friend of the Jackson Symphony, as always, and my friend Peter Shannon, he asked me to say a few words about the next piece that you're going to hear. Thursday night, I was down for the rehearsal, and my 13-year-old son was with me. We sat in the back, and as is common, he had my phone playing some game. He was trying to, but over and over during the rehearsal of this piece, he kept looking up. His eyes kept looking to the stage. He never said a word. And then tonight, as we're driving down, my wife and I dropped him and his brother off at their cousin's house. But before he got out of the car, he looked in the car and said, "You're really going to be surprised about what you hear tonight." And I thought, that's such a great way to think about this next piece. Because if you're like me, when you think about coming to the symphony, I tend to think of my favorite songs, right? Or the songs I've always heard before, like Beethoven's Fifth or Beethoven's Ninth. You know those melodies. You hum them as you're walking through the office or the house. Well, this next piece, to some extent, is going to challenge that a little bit, although you're still going to hear a lot of really cool melodies, but you're going to hear some, I don't know how to put it, some angles, if you will. You're going to hear a lot of mood, a lot of context, a lot of setting. Michael Tippett, who came to the U.S. For the first time when he was 60, was really influenced by American jazz and blues, and you'll hear some of that kind of working in tonight as well. He had a big influence on modern film composers, and so when you hear a movie and you hear the music and it kind of paints this setting, it comes from people like him who kind of taught modern composers how to do that. And so I'm going to ask Peter if the orchestra will play just a couple of excerpts. It's really a great opportunity to hear a piece like this. You could be a ticket holder to the New York Philharmonic and go your whole life without having an opportunity to hear this piece. But it's a tremendous piece of music. And so to hear it tonight in Jackson is a real special treat. Why don't we play, if you can, Peter, if y'all will play a couple of parts. I mentioned that you're going to hear some melodies in this. There's one particular phrase that you'll hear, I think it's at 21, Peter. There's one particular phrase that you'll hear maybe 4 or 5 times through the piece, as if to say, kind of keep bringing you back to this one particular part. Now, Tippett, he once said that everything he wrote was reflective of the world around him and the world inside of him. He wrote this piece in about 1975, 1976, what the world was kind of going through at that point in time. He was a pacifist. He didn't fight in World War II. He was jailed. And so anytime a war was going on, you might kind of know how he was feeling about that in the world, in his compositions at the time. And I think you'll kind of feel that and see that, especially in the next part that I've asked him to play. I think it's at 46, Peter. This piece is really technically demanding, and I'm almost afraid to stand this close to the string section. So at 46, will y'all play that for us real quick? I mean, like your hair is standing up, right? When you hear that, it's fantastic. And you'll hear that throughout the piece as well. And then there'll be one other thing. There's a lot going on in this piece, but there's one other thing in particular that you'll hear at the beginning and then a couple times through and then at the end. And Tippett said when he was writing this piece, it's a piece about birth to death. And so it's a piece about life, everything in between, and especially the end of life. And so when you're listening to this, I guarantee you at some point you're going to think to yourself, do I hear someone breathing? Is that a breath? And you'll probably never hear it in another piece, but that's what's going on. It'll be very clear, it'll be very distinctive when you hear that in this next piece. Has anybody seen the Netflix movie about Leonard Bernstein with Bradley Cooper? There's a clip in there, okay, two of you have. So there's a clip in there, and you can actually see the whole thing online, where Bernstein is giving a lecture about what music means. And, you know, you'd expect it to be real heady, like it's real sophisticated and whatnot. And really the conclusion he comes to is, it just means what you think it's telling you. What's it telling you? What do you hear? It's very subjective. And so I think it's good to take a piece like this. Peter and I have talked about this. Take a piece like you're about to hear that's probably different than anything you've heard before and use it as an invitation. What is it saying to you? How do you take it? What does it mean to you? I think that's what Tippett wanted us to do. So without further ado.
Thank you.